Imagine watching your heroes be brought to their knees by one man. A villain so unstoppable that even gods and soldiers stood powerless before him. That's the stage Marvel set when they introduced Thanos. He wasn't just a villain. He was a force of nature. But to understand why he worked so well, we need to go back to the beginning. He didn't appear out of nowhere. His arrival was teased for years, starting all the way back in the Avengers. That mid-credits scene where he first turned and smiled at the camera? It was a subtle promise, a looming threat that would grow larger with every movie. For years, we saw glimpses of him orchestrating Loki's invasion of Earth and sending Ronan after the Power Stone. He wasn't just dropped him into the story. They built him up slowly, making his eventual arrival feel inevitable. By the time Infinity War came around, we were ready to see what this mad titan was capable of, and he didn't disappoint. When it comes to villains, one of the most important elements is motivation. Thanos wasn't evil for the sake of being evil. He wasn't trying to conquer the universe or amass power for its own sake. His goal, to wipe out half of all life, was chilling, but it was rooted in what he saw as a necessary solution to a universal problem. He believed the universe was on a path to self-destruction. His home planet, Titan, was destroyed by overpopulation. From his perspective, if no one acted, countless other worlds would suffer the same fate. This wasn't just a backstory for sympathy. It was the foundation of his entire philosophy. The hardest choices require the strongest wills, he says, and he truly lived by that principle. He didn't see himself as a tyrant. He saw himself as a savior. He wasn't acting out of hatred or greed. He genuinely believed he was doing what needed to be done for the greater good. What makes him so compelling is how Marvel crafted his logic. When he talks about limited resources and overpopulation, you can't help but see his point, even if his solution is horrific. He forces the audience to confront uncomfortable questions. What if there isn't enough to go around? What sacrifices would you make to ensure survival? This moral gray area makes him more than just a villain. He becomes a philosophical challenge to the heroes, and to us as viewers. It's rare for a villain to spark genuine debate, and that's what sets Thanos apart from so many other antagonists. One of the most defining aspects of Thanos is that he wins. Infinity War isn't just another movie where the good guys triumph in the final act. It's a story where the villain achieves exactly what he set out to do. When he snapped his fingers, half of all life vanished. And Marvel didn't shy away from showing the emotional toll of that loss, on the Avengers and on the world. This victory is what elevates him above other villains. Most bad guys are defeated or outsmarted by the end of their respective movies, but not Thanos. The heroes, despite their incredible efforts, are left completely powerless in the face of his plan. It's rare in blockbuster cinema for the antagonist to end the movie victorious, and that subversion of expectations left audiences stunned. And here's the genius of it. Thanos genuinely believes he's saved the world. The quiet moments after the snap, where he sits and watches the sunrise, speak volumes. He doesn't celebrate, he doesn't gloat, he's at peace. This isn't about personal glory, it's about fulfilling what he sees as his destiny. That quiet, reflective ending makes his success even more chilling and memorable. Another reason Thanos worked so well? The personal stakes he brought to the story. Unlike many villains who are detached or purely focused on domination, Thanos had deeply emotional ties to the characters we cared about, particularly Gamora. Their relationship added an unexpected layer of humanity to his character. Take the moment on Vormir. To obtain the Soul Stone, he was forced to sacrifice something he truly loved. Gamora, confident in his inability to love, laughed in his face, until she saw his tears. This scene was a turning point. It showed us that he wasn't a one-dimensional tyrant. He genuinely cared for her, but his devotion to his cause outweighed even his love for her. What made this even more effective was how the MCU had already established Gamora's hatred for Thanos through films like Guardians of the Galaxy. Her death wasn't just shocking. It carried years of emotional build-up. It reminded us that, for him, this wasn't about cruelty. It was about sacrifice. In his mind, the ends always justified the means, no matter how heartbreaking those means might be. Thanos wasn't just a villain of the moment. He reshaped the world. His snap wasn't just a climactic plot twist. It was a seismic event that fundamentally altered the characters moving forward. The fallout from the blip was felt everywhere. In WandaVision, we saw how Wanda's grief was tied to the loss and chaos Thanos set in motion. In Spider-Man Far From Home, Peter wrestled with the emotional weight of losing Tony, whose sacrifice was a direct response to Thanos' actions. Even the Falcon and the Winter Soldier explored how society struggled to rebuild after the sudden return of billions of people. He didn't just win in Infinity War. He left scars that shaped the MCU's heroes and the world they protect. His impact forced our favorite characters to evolve. And even after his defeat in Endgame, the memory of him looms large. That's what sets him apart. He wasn't just a chapter in the MCU. He rewrote the entire story. So, why is Thanos the best villain in the MCU? It's simple. He wasn't just a physical threat. He was a philosophical one. His motivations were complex, his actions had consequences, and his presence changed the course of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. And as much as we love watching the Avengers save the day, it's villains like him that make their victories meaningful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.